I am in the top 0.1% of traders in the world, but there were so many times where I almost quit. In particular, there were 5 incredibly dark moments where I almost walked away, like the first time I lost over $100,000 in seconds. Trading is hard, the odds of success are small, and the job will try to mentally break you. But unlike many influencers selling you the fake dream, I will be the one to tell you the true reality. I've made over $100 million in trading profits, and I'm featured in the next Market Wizards. Yet now I spend my time making YouTube videos to help you all. Why? Because the psychological and physical cost of trading is so high. I do not want to keep paying the price and trading my health and emotional well-being for more wealth. Let me tell you about the 5 moments when trading had me questioning whether the job is even worth it. Moment 1 of my career came just about 18 months in. I could not figure trading out. Some months I would have negative P&L almost every single day of the month. I had never worked so hard in my entire life and seen so little tangible progress. Other trainees in my rookie class had been starting to quit. My boss was getting fed up with me after putting in so much effort but not seeing progress. I can't describe how unenjoyable it is to go to work every single day knowing you're gonna inevitably make the same mistakes, lose money, disappoint yourself and everyone around you, all while getting chewed out by your boss. It was Groundhog Day, and the truth is, succeeding at trading takes an enormous amount of emotional resilience. I had reached the point where I didn't have much hope left, and I had no choice to start interviewing elsewhere. I was looking for anything in the finance or investment banking world that would just simply hire me. Thank God that none of those firms I interviewed at saw the potential in me either, because I got no job offers. So while I was ready to move on, I was forced to stick it out. Lucky for me, I started to turn the corner. It wasn't some massive epiphany or any magical moment. It was making incrementally fewer mistakes and more good decisions. Eventually, I had a nice winning trade shorting Tesla, but every day was still a fight to defy that inner monologue telling me I'm not gonna make it and that I should quit. But the beautiful thing about humans is we, rightfully or wrongfully, always deep down hold on to that sliver of hope. Hope that there just might be brighter days if you persevere. And lucky for me, there were indeed better days ahead. But when you have no proof of your own ability, frustration can become desperation. And it is so easy for most to give up. Trust me. There are alternative universes out there where I quit and I never became the person I am today. That is why I never judge others. I've trained so many traders and had so many quit on me. I always tell them that I fully understand their decision, that they will succeed in whatever other endeavor they set their mind to, especially with the skills that they had been taught on the job. So many of those traders find happiness elsewhere. Maybe some look back with regret, but if you do leave trading, just know I understand, and it'll all work out for you in a different path. Moment 2 for me came a few years into my career when I was just getting off the ground. I was starting to be consistently profitable and starting to even become hopeful. It was a normal, quiet day at work when Allergan started ripping higher into the close. It felt like it was just some order flow into the closing imbalance, a move likely to revert back lower. I started a short into the close with the intention of holding a small position overnight. The market closes, and then, not long after, the stock just absolutely explodes higher in the after hours. An unfathomable move for a huge large cap pharma company. What was driving it? The news of a hostile takeover by Bill Ackman. Even by the time I had the headline, the stock was already up so much by the time I could even process it. I ended up losing over $100,000 when my daily risk limit was something like $5,000. A great month for me at the time was maybe $20K. That is months of work gone. All of a sudden you start questioning, will it take me 6 months to get out of the drawdown? A year? Or maybe never? How long will it take for me to get a bonus check again? Is it even worth staying? My whole trading group got banged up in this trade, and I remember speaking to my boss once the dust settled. The combo wasn't some unwavering display of confidence that I would get over this and survive the drawdown. He did his best to comfort me, but ultimately it ended with him saying, look, I have no idea what's going to end up happening. Hopefully one day you look back on this in the rearview mirror and it was just a speed bump. Obviously, we know now how the story ended, but it's hard to impress upon you just how scary that was at the time. This was my whole dream and everything I ever wanted. I had been just finally turning the corner and starting to make real money. I knew I wasn't invincible, but I didn't think my whole career would be at risk that day. So often it becomes impossible to relate to the feelings we once felt But in that moment, it was an unbelievable level of doubt whether I'd ever make it to the other side of that drawdown. Moment 3 came on February 5th, 2018, during what is now termed the VIX apocalypse. At this point, I was almost 7 years into my career. I had made a couple $1,000,000 and all seemed great. Going into the market close, I was having one of the best days of my career. I think I was up close to $1,000,000 through a series of intraday trades during a volatile market day where stocks were plunging and the VIX was ratcheting higher after years of relative calm. Essentially, hedge funds and institutions for years had been betting that the stock market would stay calm forever. The logic was stocks go up, and any spike in volatility eventually retraces. However, on February 5th, markets sold off hard, and all those short volatility positions exploded higher against them. Many of these players had leveraged their bets using inverse short volatility ETFs. So as players all raced for the exits, this led to the VIX being bought higher and higher, and more players were caught off sides, a classic market feedback loop. And all those leveraged short volatility ETFs? Well, the price of those were all tied to the VIX futures, which closed at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The VIX futures ratcheted higher into that close and triggered a cascade of consequences for those ETFs. What I didn't know at the time was that the spike in volatility triggered a liquidation clause in these ETFs like the ticker XIV. So after hours, these levered ETFs start plunging while the market wasn't even moving. The move didn't make sense to me, so I started buying up those levered ETFs. Turns out, I was the dumb day trader and I was just cannon fodder. They kept plunging, and within minutes, I took my best day ever and turned it into my worst day ever, down close to $1,000,000. The most dangerous part about mean reversion is when a trade keeps going against you, it seemingly keeps getting better and better. But in this case, I was dumb money and didn't know the key information I was missing. I was totally shell-shocked after this. It was one of the greatest emotional roller coasters of my career. To go from totally ecstatic to totally defeated, questioning once again, how long would it take me to get out of this drawdown? I was absolutely shook, and I couldn't believe that in minutes, my P&L swung so much money in the wrong direction. Crazily enough, another gut check moment number 4, came later that year on August 9th, 2018. A boutique short report came out by a group called Rota Fortunae on a stock ticker FPI. FPI is a boring farmland REIT, and the short report by Rota Fortunae argued that the company was massively overvalued, financially weak, and potentially misleading investors about its true financial condition. Because FPI just owns land, I started to play analyst, dismissing the price action and thinking there's no way that a simple farmland REIT could drop so much on one dumb boutique short report. This was faulty logic and poor logic, which led me to fight the move lower, and that ended up being catastrophic for me. The loss at the time wasn't anything so huge. I think it was maybe just 150 grand, but I was just so tired of fighting the trend given how much of my trading was focused on mean reversion. Going home from that loss after already a challenging year, I felt defeated and that I needed a change. Good did eventually come of this loss though, because it was these reflections and frustrations that eventually led me to better develop out my right side of the V concept, like I discussed thoroughly in this video. This concept would eventually allow me to risk less while making more in some of the best situations in my playbook. And especially heading into 2020 and 2021, this would eventually skyrocket me up the leaderboard as I would become the top trader at Trillium thanks to this. This moment goes to show that sometimes when we learn from our losses and our mistakes, our lowest moments can pave the path for some of our better days. And you want to know the funny part? It turns out my analyst logic actually proved right. Not only did the FPI share price recover, but the company sued the analysts behind Rota Fortunae, and years later, the analysts settled with FPI, publicly acknowledging that many major claims in the report were false or inaccurate, and they agreed to pay restitution tied to profits from the short position. Goes to show you, you can be right, but still wrong in markets if you don't have risk management and timing. Moment 5 is special because it really represents the thousands of moments throughout my career that I felt inferior due to the comparison game. And because of that, I wanted to quit. Trillium is a hyper-competitive trading firm, and I was trying to be in the top 10 and then eventually the top trader every single year. That dynamic pushes people to their potential, but it also adds a level of stress and pressure that's hard to describe. The better I performed over time, the higher the standard I ended up having for myself on any given day. I always expected myself to be the top P&L on the desk, regardless of whether that was rational or not. Any failure to do so left me feeling inferior and feeling less than. Nowadays, having left Trillium and being independent, the last few years, I've only opened myself up to an even bigger pond of comparisons. While I don't have my old coworkers around me to compare myself to, I now have the whole internet and even greater self-imposed pressure. The truth is, there was and always will be a bigger fish out there. And as humans, we must come to accept that we cannot find our self-worth by constantly comparing ourselves to others. Confidence and sense of self must come from within. Part of the toxicity of the online world today and social media is this culture of comparisons. And I know how many traders out there it pushes to quit, irrationally so. That's why I felt it's so important for me to bring this up. To survive in this game, you need to do your best to shut those comparisons out and only focus on you making forward progress, controlling what you can control. Some of you are probably wondering why my huge loss in Avis, which I discussed in this video, isn't on this list, given that it was one of the biggest losses of my career. Honestly, as strange as it may sound, that one loss didn't emotionally crush me the same way. Yes, I made a major mistake. I oversized dramatically because I became too attached to hitting a yearly P&L goal, but the trade itself actually made sense conceptually. It was a crazy momentum environment, and I had already built such a huge cushion on the year that emotionally it didn't create the same identity crisis some of these earlier losses did. The earlier moments in my career hurt more because back then I still didn't know if I truly belonged in this game. The reality is that trading changes you. It forces you to confront your insecurities, your ego, and your self-worth on a daily basis. Most people see the money and think that's the hard part. It isn't. The hard part is surviving long enough to actually become good. And if you're in that dark period right now where you feel stuck, frustrated, and hopeless, understand something important. Progress in trading is often invisible for very long stretches of time until suddenly it isn't. Sometimes the difference between failure and success is simply surviving long enough for the lessons to compound. If you want tips to make it a really long time in this career, check out this video. Thanks for watching, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.